31.86 crore, 31.86 crore in 1941. So I hope all of you have understood what do you mean by this point. Fluctuating population means the size of India's population kept on fluctuating till 1921. But after 1921, it went on rising, and population of India stood at 31.86 crore in 1941. So I hope all of you have understood this point. Next point, infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate. First of all, what do you mean by infant mortality rate? What do you mean by infant mortality rate? Infant mortality rate refers to the mortality rate refers to the below the age of 1 year. So this is the definition of infant mortality. This is the definition of infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate refers to below the age of 1 year. Below the age of 1 year. See, it was very high. It was very high about not in an exact amount, but approx. About means approx 218 per thousand. It was very high, 218 out of thousand, and declined sharply with 47 per thousand, at present. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this position and this position? See, it shows lack of health care. Means this condition shows lack of health care facilities, lack of health care because of extreme poverty, but at present means health care facilities are proper, or you can say are available in a sufficient way. So means this condition shows lack of health care because of extreme poverty. So I hope all of you have understood what do you mean by infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate refers to the below the age of 1 year, and it was very high during the British period. It was very high during the British period, or you can say on the eve of independence, about 218 per thousand, but declined sharply, means 47 per thousand at present. And see, it means this condition shows lack of health care because of extreme poverty. Next point, life expectancy rate. First of all, try to understand the definition of life expectancy rate. See, it refers to average life of a person. Life expectancy rate means it refers to average life of a person. See, it was very low. About 32 years. 32 years on the eve of independence. Means, first of all, what do you mean by life expectancy rate? Life expectancy rate refers to the average life of a person, and it was very low. About 32 years on the eve of independence. Because of health care facility, because of lack of health care, due to lack of health care facilities, lack of awareness. While presently it is about 65 years. So I hope all of you have understood what was the condition of India's demographic profile on the eve of independence or during the British period. You can say like this. So means it was stagnant, or we can say it was very poor. Means it was very backward. See, next point, literacy rate. First of all, try to understand what do you mean by literacy. See, literacy rate means it refers to those persons who can read and write. It was less than about 16%. It means out of 100%, out of 100%, literacy rate was 16%. Literacy rate was 16%, and female literacy rate was still worse. Means out of 16%, female literacy rate was 7%. It was still worse. This indicates gender bias. This indicates gender bias between male and female, between male and female in the society. So I hope all of you have understood this point, means literacy rate. So what was the condition of India's demographic profile during the British period? You can say on the eve of independence. Population means, see, fluctuating population rate, fluctuating population rate. Second, and infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate means infant mortality rate was very high on the eve of independence, about 218 per thousand. And life expectancy rate means life expectancy rate was very low, about 32 years on the eve of independence. And last, literacy rate. Literacy rate was very, means was very worse, was very in worse condition, or you can say was very low, about 16%, about 16%. And female literacy rate was also very worse, means about 7%. So I hope all of you have understood these points, means what was the condition of India's demographic profile during the colonial period, or you can say during the colonial period means British period, or you can say on the eve of independence. See, now see, colonial period, see, colonial period is different from on the eve of independence, from the period of independence. Colonial period means before independence, and on the eve of independence means we are talking about on the eve of independence, period of independence. But colonial period is different from the period of independence, so don't get confused, means regarding these points. So I hope all of you have understood. Please pause the video, note down this. See, next question. What was the year of great divide? Great divide means, what was the year of great divide means defining year. To mark means check. Demographic transition, transition means change, transition means change. See, British Indians were first collected population data through a census in 1881, first census. See, subsequently every 10 years such census was carried out, such census was carried out. The size of population, the size of population in India, the size of population in India means kept on fluctuating. Kept on fluctuating means increase in one census and decrease in other census. Decrease in other census before 1921. First of all, means try to understand, means before 1921 population of India kept on fluctuating, means it increase in one census or decrease in another census before 1921. But from the year of 1921 onward, the size of Indian population, went on rising. That's why the year of 1921 is called as the year of great divide. So I hope all of you have understood why is it called great year of divide, because this year onward, you can say, means year of this onward, size of Indian population kept on rising, and you know that, and it stood at 31.86 crore in 1941. So I hope all of you have understood why is 1921 called great year of divide. Great year of divide. You can say year of great divide. So I hope all of you have understood this question. Means what was the year of great divide? Means 1921. Defining year means 1921. To check demographic transition means change. You know that. How will you explain this? First of all, you will tell, you can say, you will write British Indians were first collected population data through a census in 1881. 1881. Subsequently, every 10 years such census was carried out. And then after you will write before 1921 population of India kept on fluctuating, means kept on fluctuating, increasing one census and decreasing another census. But after 1921, but after the year of 1921 year, 1921 year, or year of 1921, you can say, on the year of, so the year of 1921 onward, from the year of 1921 onward, the population of India went on rising and stood at 31.86 crore in 1941. So I hope all of you have understood. Please pause the video and note down this.